What you doing, buddy? Don't be digging back there. Hey, hey, don't be digging back there. What is it? Okay. Hey, gang. I'm babysitting my toddler dog. It's like if Dennis the Menace was a dog, I think I got the one. I got the one for sure. And it's funny because he's so damn smart, but he's a menace. It's like all dogs, they have their own personality, all dogs have their own personality, and you know aside from the breed, the characteristics of the breed, they all have their personality and the little things that they do, and and little habits they pick up. They're like little people. So yeah. All right. So today at work, last week, this whole week pretty much, um, I've been the father has put something new in my path, uh, for me to grow, and came in the form of a new coworker. Uh, a new coworker. He's a young guy. I would have to say. I mean, he looks like he's like 18, 19. He can't be. He's If anything, he's in his early 20s at best. But he's got a very humble, spirit about him. Like he doesn't look like a. Um, I don't perceive him to be like a tough guy, or he looks like he's a fairly smart young dude, and a little bit on the nerdier side. You know how when you meet folks and like certain characteristics about folks, like you can just tell, over the top. He's like he was never really that great in sports, for as not knocking on him, just like everybody has their own strengths, and and uh, and also like physically, he's not like the most. Uh, he's a real skinny, real thin. Doesn't look like the most muscular, guy. So he started new this week, uh, at my play up where I'm working at, and what I do, and what I do, I'm dealing with like fairly heavy objects mostly all day. Uh, we get breaks in between, like you get to catch your breath before you have to do the next task, you know. And I'm dealing with like heavy objects between 50 to 100 to 150, sometimes a little bit more, uh, all day long, just lifting. It's basically like a workout. I'm constantly lifting. It's mostly steel. Constantly, managing managing a couple of some apparatuses and hoists and things of that nature to help with the real heavy stuff. But like I'm constantly just like manhandling heavy stuff, and it's awesome. I really enjoy the job. It's and I'm good at pretty much anything I put my hands on, with a little bit of practice. Once I learn it, I just exceed. I'm just good with my hands, So I really like the job. It keeps me in shape. Like I feel more energetic because of it. I've gotten muscles back that I had forgotten existed. A few calluses on my hands. It's all good. Good stuff. It makes you feel good. It's men work. But dude, young dude, he's like I mentioned, he's a little bit more uh on the thinner side, and uh you wouldn't see him at first glance. You see him doing something else. You know what I mean? But there he is. He's there where we're at. Where I'm at, and so it's funny. And I know that the Father has been prepping me this whole week for this specific message, and he already played it in my head. Uh, so I already know where it's going. And it's not that my heart wasn't correct, because I know that he knows that I have surpassed that what I'm going to talk about. But it was more like a reminder, uh, like a refresh, in order for me to catch it and then bring it to you. And so there I am. I'm talking with my older coworker, which I work extremely well with. The guy is a big dude. I work with a lot of big white boys. It is what it is. It's not about race or anything. Just these are football players. Like, these guys were, they were supposed to be in the NFL. These are huge freaking guys. Even the other dudes, everybody's freaking huge in my job. Um, I'm like one of the smallest ones, and I'm still not. I'm not a small dude, but I'm not those guys. So like, I work extremely well with my coworker. Uh, he's not just it's not just that he's big and strong, but he's also, he's good. He's coordinated. And you have to be coordinated when you're manhandling, objects like that. Because you have to, like, pick up and drop, and in place, and hoist, suction cup, and align correctly. You're dealing with stuff that can sever one of your limbs at any given time. You know what I mean? So you have to be coordinated. Um, and like, I've been used to, working with my coworker. We work great, like I mentioned. And here comes the we've been hurting too, by the way, for a couple of guys to do the same thing that we're doing in our department. um uh but it's been me and my buddy and two other guys at the end, but mostly me and my buddy, just managing most of the area, which is composed. I don't want to give too much information on where I work, but it's a pretty fairly large facility, and we're dealing with $1 million of worth of machinery and equipment, and and we have to run back and forth, and manage half of the area by ourselves. And we have been, because we've been short staffed. So here comes the guy. And they put him with us for us to teach him. And and he's slowly, little by little, he's catching the gist of it. And but it's not really as much as him. That what has been happening inside of me has been that I've already had a routine and already had a rhythm. With my other coworker, and now I have to slow it down. I have to slow down and be patient and calm down, and give young dude the chance to pick up and catch up. And we all learn differently, in certain areas. And he's truly a good dude. He's mentioned stuff already, his personal life. It's like one of those people, like, he's like one of those just pure, just good-hearted, uh young dude. It's like he just opened up and tells me things about his family, and things that have been going on. And he shared with me that he has a young son, like a little toddler, and that he had married the girl. And he mentioned a lot, you know and for the short period of time that we've been working together. And that's cool. And I listen to him, and I'm constantly, I'm on, like, on beast mode at work half the time. And I got my game face on. So then, like, him being there for has forced me to like check uh what is it to check my ego, I guess you could say, because it's like it's been a back and forth in my mind, in my head, with like, oh man, I don't know this guy's gonna make it, and he might just slow us down. And I don't want them to just stick him over here, and then we're stuck with him, and like all of these crazy thoughts, of him like coming and being some kind of in my head, some kind of a hindrance to the good thing I already got going, and like and then the spirit just comes in, boom, you can expect it, right? The spirit of the father comes in and he's like, what are you doing? What are you're you're too good for this individual. You think you're better than this individual. He starts checking me. The father starts checking me, the spirit of the father starts checking me, and immediately, because I respond, and I know it's a setup. I know the father sets me up on purpose because he knows I have surpassed these. Like, and again, it's not to boast or anything. First day on the, I felt it in my heart. He didn't have any money. He went to the little kiosk we have inside, and and his card wasn't working because he was overdrawn, and like, I felt for him, and I know you have to eat, you have to eat, especially where we're at. You burn calories, you burn energy. So like I told him, hey man, and again, for the glory of the father, I'm not trying to boast or anything. I'm just expressing right out of the gate, my interaction with him. I told him, hey, listen man, I got you. I understand how it is, in the beginning, and when, I've been there before, and and so I helped him out with that and all. But so it's like the spirit of the father coming to me, and like checking me every time that I feel like my, like my, I don't know, my carnality wants to show off, and then and I remember what it was like to be malnurtured and 140 pounds, and homeless, and and being at the mercy of whatever good soul, you know, uh, would deem me worthy of rescuing, to so to speak. And the father always sends somebody, at that time, it was a good friend of mine, which like a brother to me. And but long story short, uh, the spirit of the father just humbling me, and for the sake of like bringing me back to that, and like I find myself there at work, just constantly just checking myself, it's like every time that, because he's a little slower on the steel, he's trying to be careful. And one of the first things that I told him, when he came to us and we were starting to train him, was, listen man, like, management, they do these little safety briefs in the beginning, but our safety is up to us. We got to look out for each other. We got to look out for each other, and for ourselves. You can hurt yourself out here if you're not paying attention. So when I see him like going slow and stuff, I have to like just constantly remind myself, just just relax, let him be. You know, give him a chance, give him some time. Let him figure it out. Be patient. Don't you raise up. Don't you raise up on him because he can't keep up. You know, and it's just it's just it just it's just amazing, man. The father, because the father loves us, and I'm not saying that we should sit. I'm not saying we should sit and judge individuals when we see and recognize that they've been stagnant in a certain area. That's not what I'm saying. But for the most part, we should uh, we should always have something. The Father should always be continually working in us. Oh yeah, you think that something was burning in Texas or something? It's real thick out here, and the Father is continuously working with us, because He loves us. He loves us enough to not leave us the same. So it's just funny to me. It's not funny, but it's awesome. It's awesome that the Father would utilize things like that, in order to get me to reflect on things and to keep me humble. And what why do I take the time and make these videos, guys? Why do I talk about these just simple everyday, you know situations? Why do I do that? The reason why I do that is because the same reason that we see Jesus doing it, and in the gospel, right? In the Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, New Testament, whatever you want to call it, and he's in Jeshua, Jesus, Yahuwah, however you want to call him, Jesus Christ. When we see him, his teachings, right? Everything that he was talking about and saying was about bringing you to understand where to store your riches. That that we need to learn how to store our riches in heaven. How to build the kingdom of heaven. How to build in the kingdom of heaven rather than in the kingdoms of men. That's why I say these. I make these videos, this simple, everyday type of situations, because I'm trying to separate you from the blinders that the world puts over you of the routine and the indoctrination. To I'm trying to take you inside where it happens, where the change happens. I'm trying to take you inside and reflect, and really reflect on your everyday heart condition towards every interaction that you have. I'm trying to bring you to that point where you start to listen to the Spirit of the Father more than you're listening to the world that we have, unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but that we have been accustomed to and indoctrinated to listen to and to pay attention to. So that's the reason why I make these simplistic videos, because they're real. These are real situations, real things. Remember, Jesus said, "It's not what enters the man that makes the man unclean. It's what comes out of the man. It's what comes out of your heart. It's your heart condition. Men judge by appearance, judge by the outward appearance, but the Father of creation judges the heart. And we have to learn the difference between building in the kingdom of heaven and building in the kingdoms of men, because we should only be building in one. And yes, I understand we're physical beings living on planet Earth. I understand that, but we are not of this world. If you truly have the Spirit of the Creator living within you, we are not of this world. We're just passing through. And we need to understand, we need to continue to allow the Spirit of the Father to transform us from the inside out. Remember, Jesus called the Pharisees, Sadducees, uh, uh, whitewashed tombs full of dead men's bones. Hypocrites. You enlarge your phylacteries, and they like to be praised. These individuals, they want to be praised and worshipped, basically. And revered and feared. you know and and all in the because they claim that they're the Father's people. Jesus Jesus didn't care about any rich man that might have approached him. We see that, right? We see that in the Word. He didn't care. He wasn't impressed by the monetary value of worldly possessions. He wasn't impressed by that. You know what touched him? Humble hearts touched him. You know, when that woman drew power from him, she because she has so much faith, and she made her way to grab what we believe to be the tzitzi, the corner of the hem of his garment, and and she was healed, and he felt power draw from him, as the book uh, recalls, and he's not impressed by worldly accomplishments. what and what pleases him is every time that we make the right decision inwardly, every time we make the conscious decision to do the right thing in our hearts. Everything starts in the heart, that's why the word also says protect your heart above all things, because from it flows life. And do not trust your heart, because your heart is deceitful. So we have to submit our flesh, our heart, and it's important. We the Father made us with a heart, but we have to know where to deposit that. Where do we go to be safe? And that's in the hands of the Creator, not in the hands of the world, not in the hands of your, you know, I hate to say it, but not in the hands of your spouse. Even your spouse is a blessing if you guys have a good relationship and you both are aligned, you know, together with the Creator. But you cannot worship your spouse. You can't worship your children. You can't worship anything on this world, because the fact of the matter, like I've mentioned before, we don't know what love is until we learn how to love Him. If we don't learn how to love Him by instruction of the Spirit of the Father, we don't know what love is. Therefore, how can we love others as we love ourselves if we don't know how to love? Because we haven't loved Him first. I hope that makes sense. But anyways, how many, man? How many of us, back to the lesson, right? It's all a lesson, I know, but how many of us have had those, I want to use the phrase, angels in disguise, right? I wouldn't say he's an angel, but, uh, so to speak, like how many of us have, have, have dealt with those humble souls, that the Father purposely puts in our path, for us to learn valuable lessons. How many of us have fumbled, and mistreated, mistreated the opportunity of a relationship with whatever the relationship may entail, uh, or a period of time with individuals like these that the Father puts in our path on purpose. I also remember what Jesus said. I remember I forget the um, I forget the verse numbers and stuff, but I remember the word. He goes, Master, when did we see you hungry, or when did we see you in incarcerated, or when did we see you without clothing? And then like Jesus always teaches you. So if you did it for if you did it for one of the least of these, you did it unto me. And that's what the kingdom of the Father is about. It's inside of your heart. It's not about doing things to pretend that your heart is right. No, it's about working on your heart It's about letting the Spirit of the Father actually work on your heart so that you can mean it. And remember, it like again that instance when that woman gave all she had, and it wasn't much in comparison to what everybody else was given. And yeah, it's they're using you. The word is using money there, but again, it's not about the money. It's about the kingdom of the Father. And what did Jesus say about that woman that gave the least? She said that even though this woman has given the smallest amount, she has given the most because she gave everything she had. How many times, how many opportunities has the Spirit of the Father have put us and we have resisted and walked away and neglected and spat upon, so to speak, the opportunity to grow closer to Him, to grow closer, to mature more in spirit. How many times have we neglected those opportunities? And we have let individuals that the Father has purposely brought in our lives for such a lesson, which is the most valuable lessons that you can have, those that the Spirit brings to you directly, because that's what the kingdom of the Father is all about. Everything else is nonsense. Anyway, a little rant there. Hope you can hear me. Um, so yeah, I had to get home and talk about that. So there I am, and I hope that I hope it brings some. I hope it blesses you and everything. Again, like I mentioned, everything that I say it's inspired by the Spirit of the Father, and and I'm honored. I'm honored that it's my fulfillment, and to be able to be useful in any way uh, in your walk. And I'm not concerned about the numbers on my channel. If that's a thought that the enemy has planted in certain individuals, I'm not concerned about that because I know who speaks, and when the time comes, the people that need to hear the voice of the Spirit will hear, and and that's not on me. What's on me is to be diligent and obedient and come and allow Him to use my voice. So, all right. Well, bless you guys. I'll keep coming through you know, and giving you some nuggets. And hope that, I truly hope everybody, especially those that I know, that I know that watch my videos, I hope that you continue to humble yourself and trust in the Father. Trust that the Father has everything under control. Lay your burdens upon Him. Let Him handle it. Let Him worry. God doesn't worry. Let Him be the one to deal with the situation, whatever the situation may be. Let Him do it. Just trust. If there's anyone that you can blindly trust, men will deceive you all day. You will deceive yourself. Your heart will deceive you. Your heart will fail you. The only one that will never fail you is Yah Himself. So lay your burdens upon Him. All right. Amen. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Shalom.